All right, today we're going to tackle one of Apple's most powerful and, let's be honest, often misunderstood frameworks. We are going to dive in and completely demystify Core Data. Seriously, think about it for a second. Your to-do list, that notes app you use every day, your fitness tracker, somehow they all remember everything without needing the internet. How in the world does that work? Well, that little bit of magic is exactly what we're going to break down. You know, for any app developer, just managing data is a massive challenge. I mean, sure, you have to save stuff to the device, but it's so much more than that. You have to figure out how different pieces of data relate to each other, like a user and all of their posts. You need to be able to search through it, manage its state, and even handle something as simple as undo and redo. This is the big, complex problem that pretty much every single app has to solve. So what's Apple's answer to all this? It's a framework called Core Data. And listen, here's the most important thing to get right from the start. It is so much more than just a database. Let's look at the official definition for a sec. It's an object graph and persistence framework. Okay, persistence is the easy part. That just means it saves your data, so it's there when you come back. But object graph, that's the secret sauce. Instead of thinking about data in flat rows and columns like a spreadsheet, Core Data sees it as a web of interconnected objects. And that's exactly how developers think when they're actually writing code. This quote really gets to the heart of it. Core Data isn't some passive box you just throw data into. No, it actively manages that data for you. It understands the relationships between your objects, it handles their entire life cycle, from the moment they're created to when they're deleted, and it's all optimized for super high performance right out of the box. And this comparison, this clears up the single biggest misconception out there. So many people think Core Data is just a fancy name for a database like SQLite, but that's not it at all. While Core Data might use SQLite under the hood, it totally hides all that complexity from you. Instead of writing complex database queries, you just ask for what you want with simple fetch requests. You stop thinking in tables and rows, and you start thinking in objects and relationships. It's a much higher level tool for a more complex job. Okay, so we've got a handle on what it is, but how does it all actually work? Let's build a really simple mental model to understand the flow. It really comes down to these 3 simple steps. First, you create your object model. Just think of this as the architectural blueprint that defines exactly what your data looks like. Second, you do all your work in what's called the managed context. This is like a temporary scratch pad. You can create new things, edit them, delete them, mess around as much as you want without affecting the actual saved file. And then finally, when you're happy with your changes, you save that context, and then it gets written to the persistent store, the real file on your device. Now, let's just map those simple ideas to the official component names. That data model, your blueprint, is where you define your entities, which are kind of like tables, and their attributes, which are like columns. The NSManagedObject context, well, that's the scratch pad we were just talking about. Then you have the NS persistent container, which is this amazing helper that pretty much sets up this entire system for you with just a couple lines of code. And last, the persistent store is that final file where all your data actually lives. Okay, let's make this super real with a quick example. Let's pretend we're building a notes app, and we just want to create a brand new note. Now, you don't even need to be a programmer to get what's happening here. That first line just creates a new note object inside our temporary workspace, that context. The second line, well, it gives our note a title. And that final line, context.save, that's you telling Core Data, okay, looks good, I'm done with my changes, go ahead and write this to the disk for real. See? It's that straightforward. So Core Data is obviously really powerful, but it's not the only way to save data on an iPhone. The real trick is knowing when it's the right tool for the job. This little chart is super helpful. Look, if you just need to save a couple of simple settings, like is dark mode on or off, then user data's is absolutely perfect. But for complex data with relationships, you can see it's really a race between Core Data and another tool called Realm. But what's the killer feature for Core Data? That checkmark right there. Built-in first-party support for syncing with iCloud. That's a huge deal. So what does that mean in the real world? Well, you should definitely be reaching for Core Data when you're building an app that needs to work perfectly offline, or if your app has connected data, like a diary where entries are linked to photos. Basically, anytime you have a structured set of data that needs to be managed locally on the device, Core Data is an absolutely fantastic choice. But, and this is just as important, you have to know when not to use it. Don't overcomplicate things. For those simple settings, just use user defaults. If you're storing huge files like videos or audio recordings, you're way better off using the device's file system directly. And if your main goal is real-time collaboration between tons of users, then a cloud-based tool like Firebase is probably going to be a much better fit. All right, let's bring it all home. What are the biggest strengths, the final takeaways you should remember about core data? So if there's just one thing you take away from all this, it's this. Core data absolutely excels at managing complex relational data right there on the device. It's incredibly performant, it handles all the tricky memory management stuff for you, it integrates beautifully with modern tools like SwiftUI, and it even has built-in tools to automatically handle database updates over time, which, trust me, solves a massive headache for developers. And that brings us to a final thought. We live in a world where everything seems to be in the cloud, always connected. But tools like Core Data let us build apps that are ridiculously fast, super reliable, and work perfectly even if you're on a subway or a plane with no signal. So I'll just leave you with this question. In our hyper-connected world, is having an app that just works offline maybe the ultimate user feature? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.